Hey guys, it's Rachel from Hope Corner Farm. By day, I'm a home ec teacher who teaches hundreds of students how to crochet, quilt, sew, and cook, and today we're going to learn how to complete the puff stitch in crochet. The puff stitch can vary depending on the number of yarn overs and the way you complete the stitch. I'm going to show you a whole bunch of different variations on the puff stitch. So let's grab a hook and some yarn and we'll get crocheting. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to my channel, hit the bell to get notifications so you know when I post new videos, and give me some feedback on this video. Give it a like or a comment and let me know what you thought of it, things that I can improve, things I did great. So before we get started, I just want to point out here with this puff stitch, it can be done in so many different ways. So I'm going to show you a couple of varieties here today. So this one, on my little sample here, you can see I've got different sizes of puffs. And really, the size of the puff is determined by how many times you yarn over and go through the stitch, and I'll show you. Now, the difference with this puff here is that I am not chaining one to finish out these puffs like I do with these ones, and I'll show you the difference here as we go along. So this puff down here is our smallest, next, and we're going up and up and up. So the bigger puff you want, the more yarn over you need to do. So with my little start here, so I've got a foundation single crochet with some single crochet in it to just start. So what I'm going to do here is I'll first just start off with a single crochet to get us away from the edge. So if we're going to do a small puff stitch, I would yarn over. So I would go down, around, and up till I have a yarn over. Now I'm going to go into my stitch. So I'm going right here into this next stitch. So I'm going to go through. Now I'm going to yarn over, which is just kind of coming up and picking up that yarn that's still attached to the rest of the yarn. Pull it through my stitch. Now I've got 3 loops on my hook. Now I'm going to yarn over again. I'm going to go back into that same stitch. I'm going to yarn over again, pull through that same stitch until I have 5 loops on my hook. Now for my smallest puff stitch, I would yarn over, so I would come up and yarn over, rotate my hook, and pull through all 5 loops on the hook. And that completes one puff stitch. So you can see that we've got this really small puff stitch here. And I actually use this puff stitch in my Montana headband, and I'll include a link to that video as well. So I use a small puff stitch for my Montana headband. So I'm going to just do a single crochet here to finish this out. That's one way that you can finish off a puff stitch. So I'll show you again for the small one. So I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to go into the stitch I'm crocheting into. I'm going to yarn over again, pull through that stitch. Now I've got 3 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over another time, go back into that stitch, yarn over, pull through that stitch. Now I've got 5 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over one more time and pull through all 5 loops on my hook. And that completes that puff stitch. So I'm going to single crochet here to finish that one. Now if I want to make it just a little bit bigger. So that was this puff stitch that I completed here. So you can see that small one. You kind of see one little line there, and that's why I use it in my Montana headband. Now we'll go up one more and do our next size here. So how I get it a little bit bigger, I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to go into my stitch just like I have been. Yarn over, pull through the stitch. Now I've got 3 on my hook. Yarn over, go into the stitch, yarn over, pull through the stitch. Now I've got 5 on my hook, but instead of stopping there, I'm going to yarn over again, go back into the stitch, yarn over, pull through the stitch. Now I have 7 on my hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to yarn over and pull through all 7 loops, and that gets us the next biggest size of a puff stitch. I'll finish that one out and I'll show you this one more time here. Yarn over into the stitch, yarn over, pull through the stitch, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, go back into the stitch, yarn over, pull through the stitch, 5 loops. I'm going to yarn over, go into the stitch here, yarn over, pull through the stitch. Now I've got 7 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through all 7 loops. And that makes our next biggest size here. So if I go to the next side of my work here, you can kind of see the difference. Small, we're getting a little bit bigger here with our puff stitches. Okay, so now let's go on to the next row. So we've done this one and this size. Let's go to the next size up. So I'm going to single crochet again here. So for the next size, literally just to make your puff stitches bigger, you yarn over another set of times. So what that means is one kind of set is we yarn over, go into the stitch, yarn over, pull through the stitch, yarn over, go into the stitch, yarn over, pull through the stitch. That's my small one. So to make one a little bit bigger, we would yarn over, into the stitch, yarn over, pull through the stitch. Okay, so there's my 7, which is the one I just did. To make it a little bit bigger, I would yarn over again, go back into the stitch, yarn over, pull through the stitch. Now I have 9 on my hook. I would yarn over and pull through all 9. And that makes my puff stitch even bigger. So we're gonna yarn over, I did a single crochet, so I'll show you another big one here. So yarn over, into the stitch, yarn over, pull through the stitch, 3, 5, 7. Notice they're in odd numbers. 9. So that's hard to see, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's yarn over one more set here. There's 11 on my hook there. That's really hard to see, but there are 11 there. And then I would yarn over and finish it. So the size of your puff stitch is basically determined by the number of times that you yarn over. So you can see how that's a little smaller, getting a little bit bigger, and you can just keep on going as many as you can fit onto your hook. So that's one style of puff stitch. Like I said, the puff stitch, there are a lot of variations, so you really do need to pay attention to what your pattern calls for as far as number of yarn over times and inserting into the stitch, as well as how you finish it out. So these puff stitches, you'll notice they look a little bit different than the other ones. These actually have a chain 1 to finish the stitch, rather than on these ones, I didn't chain 1 after I pulled through the loop. I instead single crocheted when I went into it. So I'll show you what I mean here. So I would yarn over, I'll just place a single crochet here to get away from the edge, okay? So I'm actually going to put my puff stitch right here in this opening in between these two. This is a more open crochet stitch here when you do it this way. So what I would do, I'm going to yarn over. Now this time I'm just going into this opening here between the two of them. I yarn over, pull through 3 loops. So the moves are the same. It's just a little bit different towards the end. We'll go here. I'll make this just a little bit bigger of a puff stitch. There's 5. Let's make it a 7 one. So there's 7. I yarn over, pull through the stitch. So with the previous type of puff stitch that I showed you, to finish it, I did a single crochet. But this one, I'm going to finish just a little bit different. I am actually going to chain 1 to complete that puff stitch. Now I'm going to go into this next space here between the two of them. Yarn over, into the space. So again, I'm still getting the same number of loops. Yarn over, into the stitch, yarn over, pull through the stitch, and then I complete my stitch. Oops. And sometimes that happens and you have to just redo your stitch. And then to finish, chain 1. So you just have to pay attention to what your pattern calls for to complete the puff stitch, but all of the mechanics are literally the same. So we yarn over, we insert it into the space that we're putting our stitch into. We yarn over, pull through that space. There's 3 loops on my hook. I would yarn over again, into the space, yarn over, pull through. Now I've got 5 loops on my hook. Yarn over, into the space, yarn over, pull through the space. Now there's 7. So just like I did with the other puff stitch, now I'm going to yarn over and pull through all of them. And this one again is finished with a chain 1. So by doing that chain 1, we're getting our puff stitches that kind of sit with a little bit of a diagonal to each other. So they alternate this way, this way, this way, this way. Hopefully you can see that. And notice there it's more open and airy with this stitch compared to this one. So it really just depends on what your pattern calls for. This one, there's less gaps in your work, whereas this one definitely has some more gaps that things can fit through there. And that's the puff stitch. I hope you guys found this tutorial helpful. Let me know, give me some feedback on it, give me a like or a comment, let me know what you thought of this video. Get to subscribe to my channel, hit the bell to get notifications so you can get more stitch tutorials and project tutorials as I post them. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Have a blessed day.